I went to Gamescom Asia in Thailand last week and saw a ton of great indie games, including one that blew my mind, and more than just games, it was awesome meeting developers and industry people as well, with action-adventure, shooters, RPGs, a Metroidvania, and more titles of interest, so let's begin with Midnight Study. A roguelite deck-building horror game from a Korean developer where you choose from 4 students using shamanic powers to battle the various spirits and nightmarish monsters. In theory, this is a Slay the Spire-like, but where you're aiming a shot and almost playing Breakout to hit the talismans floating above your head, with the effects then triggering in sequence, so you need to be strategic about where you shoot, being an interesting take on the deck builder with some great art as well. I managed to complete an entire round of There Are No Orcs at their booth, and is a roguelite RTS strategy hybrid, reminding me of games like The King is Watching, but with tug-of-war combat and is not purely defense. Place buildings to generate resources and troops, then march on enemy towers and their base, battling for control over mines for additional gold, with building positioning being critical since their effectiveness is affected by the buildings surrounding them, with massive numbers and chaotic action as you try to pump out as many units as possible. This video is brought to you by Roulette Hero, a strategic roguelite deck builder where you create your own roulette wheel by placing animal companions in spots, spinning the wheel to see where it lands, which then activates their abilities, using these to defeat towering mechanical monsters. The animals have a variety of abilities, from direct attack and damage, defensive abilities, support buffs, and other special effects, with animal family synergies to consider when picking your loadout as well. There are 13 animal types, 100 plus animal tiles, and 100 plus power-up cartridges and stickers to consider when constructing your build, using these to tweak the odds in your favor as you tackle increasingly tougher enemies and climb the leaderboards. This is an active development with more content to come, including modding support and Steam Workshop integration, so if interested, this is out right now and you can buy it on Steam via the link in the description below. There were a number of cozy games at the show, one of which is Spirit's Rancher, a farming simulator with a magical twist where every crop and resource on your ranch is actually a living spirit and your job is to capture, cultivate and collaborate with them in this mystical world. You'll explore different regions which change with the seasons, encountering wild spirits and using your brush and talismans to capture them and then bringing them back to your ranch. Feed these spirits to get the resources you need. For example, cabbage spirits produce cabbages, iron spirits yield iron, and so on, as you build production chains by linking one spirit's output to another's hunger. Unlock new spirits, discover more fantastical biomes, expand your ranch, build relationships with villagers, share gifts, participate in festivals, and even romance NPCs. So fairly standard farming game stuff, but it does look cute. It's like some mix of Slime Rancher with Stardew Valley, with named resources instead of simple plots, with an awesome visual style as well. I didn't get a chance to talk to the developers of Earth Atlantis 2, but I believe Pixel Perfects is based in Thailand, with this being a gorgeous throwback side-scrolling shoot-em-up which is the follow-up to a game from 2019. Set in a flooded post-apocalyptic world, humanity clings onto survival amidst the drowned ruins of Earth, where you pilot a weaponized submarine and navigate sprawling underwater maps filled with enemies who attack with bullet hell patterns. You have to move, dodge and fire back against the mechanical sea creatures, which have awesome designs with some Metroidvania influence as you explore 9 interconnected stages, unlocking various upgrades like drones, more powerful weapons, as well as speed and armor, some of which to be used in the backtracking. Take on over 20 colossal boss monsters, each with unique attack patterns, with a certain old school charm to the game, reminding me of Echo the Dolphin, and looks great. We also have the long in development Light Odyssey participating in this event, where I remember playing this at last year's Gamescom Asia, and it has already been almost a year since then, being a grimdark boss rush action game where you play as the last flicker of light trying to restore brightness to a world swallowed by darkness. You face down giant colossi, each with 3 brutal phases for each battle, learning attack patterns, chaining dodge combos, and mastering stamina management to survive, having some Souls-like inspiration to the combat, although you did have access to a ranged attack in the demo that I played. Between colossi fights, explore ruined temples and fallen cities, solving environmental puzzles and deciphering symbols with some sort of ancient language which you have to learn if you want to figure out the narrative in a manner perhaps similar to Tunic. Each victory unlocks skills and enhancements which you can take into your next fight, with the scale of the bosses as compared to your character and the sense of scale being one of the main selling points. Arcade Galaxy comes to us out of Taiwan and is a fast-paced party platformer where you race, jump and outplay rivals as customizable animal cubs. While it might look like a kart racer, this is actually more of a sandbox title where players build and share various maps and modes, with the vertical movement option allowing for more interesting designs. You dash through vibrant arenas, jump over traps and use various boosts, wrangle the in-game physics and sprint towards the finish line, all while outsmarting the other players. The UGC or level creation aspect has potential with their intuitive editor that lets you drag and drop objects and traps as well as to configure logic, so I'm interested to see what people come up with. There are also cosmetic unlockables to make your cub truly yours, looking like a colourful social playground to mess around in with your friends. A very ambitious looking title is Witchspire, a third-person survival crafting action-adventure game where you play as a novice witch or wizard stranded in a mystic realm and must navigate a world brimming with magic and peril as you attempt to find your way home in the face of an ancient darkness. Explore vibrant biomes by broomstick or on foot, capture and tame mystical creatures to turn them into familiars, conjure resources via spells like causing a forest to grow, then use magic again to harvest them, such as automated magic pickaxes to mine for you. There's a home base or sanctuary to develop where you conveniently can use the power of astral projection to fly around like in Minecraft creative mode, flying around with full freedom of placement to customize your home. There is combat, so you do have to fight corrupted beasts, but luckily for you, this has co-op support so you can play with friends as well. Essentially, this is like Valheim or Palworld, but with witches, and could possibly be one of the biggest games of 2026. I was surprised to see Bylina up close at the show, since from trailers, it looks like a grimdark action-adventure RPG in a world inspired by Slavic mythology, so think The Witcher and the like, with giant monsters and skill-based combat, but then there are these strange hand-sketched lines on the faces of characters, and there was a take a piss button while out in the wilderness, so certainly not what I expected, but is still pretty cool. You play as Falconet, a young Bogator born without hero powers, having to fight the odds and to live up to his father's legacy, going on a quest to take down Koschei the Deathless to become a true hero. Wield a variety of medieval weapons such as swords, shields, spears, and bows as you explore the very Slavic environments like a brown forest, gloomy dungeons, and imposing castles. Master combat techniques and spells, discover rare armor and items, and engage in punishing boss fights where every mistake could cost you dearly. This looks pretty sick in action and should be quite the challenge, with it still having a 2025 release window, but I'm not sure if it will be out this year. A very cleverly made title is Dual Quest, a co-op deck-building roguelite designed specifically for 2 players, where the connection between you and your partner becomes a core gameplay mechanic. Each turn, you draw cards that lets you attack, defend or heal, but the twist is that before you can play them, you and your partner must answer the same quirky question, with over 1,000 of them over 20 themes, being multiple choice with a time limit. For example, how would player 2 handle sharing dessert? After which 4 options are presented, player 2 has to press the corresponding button, then it is player 1's turn, and if the answers match, you get an additional bonus, but if it does not, then you get penalized, leaning more towards a party game. It is, however, at its core, still a roguelite deck builder, so choosing which cards to play, managing health, defenses, and resources will be key as you explore a procedurally generated map filled with monsters and boss fights, unlock new classes, each with their own card sets, discover powerful relics that augment your strategy, working together to eventually take down the Demon King coming to us out of Malaysia and looks like fun with a friend. I also spent some time with the demo of Dimraeth, this one coming out of the Philippines, and is a fantasy action-adventure RPG with co-op built for 1 to 8 players. It's a pixel art title which looks good, where the story goes that a failed ritual binds you and others in immortality, now having to protect and shape the titular world. Combat is in real time, in which you're using skills on cooldown, having 8 races and 6 classes to choose from, where I was playing as the Minotaur looking character wielding a giant axe, but each are supposed to have unique skill trees with different spells and abilities, along with RPG elements and loot as an essential part of the gameplay loop. I was doing fetch questy stuff, wandering through the wilderness, fighting monsters, picking up wood and stone to complete a quest, with waypoints, beacons to unlock more of the map, and more. There's also your own stronghold to build and upgrade, which you can fill with allies, expanding and upgrading to unlock access to more systems, playing pretty well and looks good, with an early access launch targeted for 2026. I've been meaning to cover Ella Stars for a little while, but plans always fell apart, so I was happy to see this vibrant rhythm game at the show, in which you play as Ella and Bird, a crocodile and bird duo, as they defend the world of music from villainous threats by hitting beats, dodging boss attacks, and unleashing dramatic musical assaults. You tap in time to the rhythm, trigger special fever time sequences for maximum impact, dealing with regular enemies and bosses alike, with the boss fights, of course, being more involved and require variance on the button presses. Unlock flashy costumes and stylish action effects, which does change up the gameplay by giving you new abilities, but still remains a rhythm game at its core, with multiple difficulty settings per level if you're looking for more of a challenge. The publisher on this, Sea Reels, is an animation studio with a YouTube channel with over 1 million subscribers, with their videos being worth a watch, so to see them turn to games is neat and will be for fans of the genre. Safeguard Saga is a pixel art simulation strategy RPG where you inherit a ruined escort guild, no, not that kind, where escorts here are the equivalent of bodyguards or security, protecting valuable shipments and merchants so that they can safely get from point A to B. Play as their leader and recruit your crew, managing overall operations as you rebuild and expand your influence across a martial arts world. You have a home base to develop and upgrade, adding structures like the training hall, kitchen and forge over time, managing resources and deciding on what to produce as you train your crew and ensure that they have the sufficient skills to take on dangerous missions. There are larger threats in this world, such as disputes between the different martial arts clans, the court and pirates, so you need to make decisions and be diplomatic in your relationships with these parties. I think that this looks absolutely amazing, especially in the combat animations, joining a growing list of wuxia or cultivation games that should be awesome. I stood over the shoulder of someone playing just a shadow game while chatting with the developer, where this deck-building roguelite strategy game looks intriguing, in which you play as a warlock under the thumb of a mysterious entity only known as Shadow, battling through ritualistic duels where you summon towers, cast spells and attack your enemies. Start with a basic deck of spells and building cards, then draw and play them in each turn, limited by an energy counter as you establish your defenses and production, then start sending troops towards the enemy. It is a roguelite, so you're unlocking and upgrading cards with new towers, units and relics to make you more powerful, as enemies escalate in toughness and difficulty. It's a bit difficult to see what was going on due to the camera angle that they have chosen, but the hellish atmosphere, buildings and units does look pretty impressive. If a little difficult to see what is going on, but if you love tactical roguelites, this will be of interest. A very cozy title is Tidebound, a fishing and exploration game in which you captain a modest boat out into a tranquil sea, cast lines to catch dozens of different aquatic species, use inventory Tetris to manage your hold space, return to sell your catch, and upgrade your boat in order to sail further to find more exotic species. You navigate the calm waves and shifting tides, choosing your rod and bait, then cast your line, hauling in not only fish but other resources as well, having to decide on whether to sell them, keep them, or to use them for upgrades. This is not just limited to your boat and gear. Where the trailer does show off village building, in which you are constructing buildings to develop the hub area, with this game having undergone a change in art style as compared to when it was first revealed, so it seems like things are up in flux, but they do have until Q2 2026 to lock it in, and does seem pretty chill. On the other hand, a very not chill title is Blackout Zero Point, a hardcore side-scrolling cooperative shooter where you take on the role of elite operatives battling through zones overrun by horrific creatures fused with machines in a near-future dystopia. Engage in tactical gunplay and objective-based missions across subterranean labs, high-speed subway stations, and sealed quarantine facilities as you navigate tight corridors and battle relentless waves of enemies. Progress through the game by mastering weapon loadouts, tactical gear, and coordinating with up to 4 players in a squad, adapting your strategy to shifting environments and enemy behavior. This comes to us from a Korean indie developer as well, where the indie scene there is producing some great games, where of course I'm partial to this game in part due to the pixel art, but also it does also have a little bit of a Helldivers vibe but side-scrolling and should be great fun with friends. First-person job sims are having their moment in the sun, with Alchemy Factory cleverly combining that with a factory builder, so think of this as medieval fantasy satisfactory and you get the idea. This is a sandbox simulation automation game where you begin as a fledgling alchemist with a modest workshop and gradually build up to a sprawling production empire, crafting potions, metals, and jewels for sale to your customers, layout machines and conveyors, eventually automating the grinding of herbs, extraction of essences, the distillation of elixirs, and can even transmute ore into the fabled philosopher's stone. It's very much factory builder stuff, but with a magical twist where you do get access to things like the teleporter to help out in the design, although more often than not, as these games tend to go, you end up tearing everything out and rebuilding to optimize the layout. Luckily, this does have co-op support, so you can get your friends to help in the reconstruction, taking a tried and true gameplay loop and applying it in a different context, and will be for fans of the genre. Thai developer Fairplay Studios have been around for a little while, with their next game, Nightmare Circus, looking to be their best one yet. This is an action-adventure game where you step into the shoes of a puppeteer stranded in a twisted nightmare realm, setting out to rescue your missing troupe and to escape the chaotic carnival of horrors. Fling yourself into combat, using, most interestingly, the strings of the puppet as the main mechanic, used to wrap and lasso enemies, causing them to crash into each other for a stun, can be used as a grappling hook, a slingshot to launch into enemies or to break through rocks, a hook to pull foes into pits, and even in puzzle solving to progress further, very cleverly incorporating the character design into the gameplay itself. As you move through the world, you unlock new attacks, expand your collection of moves, and experiment with combat, where another indie developer described this game to me as the next Death's Door, so definitely pay attention. While clowns and circuses are not my thing, it looks well done here, more of a dark fantasy version instead of straight up horror despite the title. So if you love 3/4 view 2D Zelda style titles, this will be of interest. German publisher Daedalic Entertainment made it all the way down to Thailand, bringing with them their more cozy titles, one of which is Voodoo, an ultra cozy 3D puzzle game that is not that involved in terms of gameplay, but just looks so cute and is a calming kind of game. You are assembling wooden dioramas piece by piece, dragging and dropping pieces from the sidebar into the diorama itself, gradually colouring it in with the wonderful wooden toy-like objects, and just look at it, it doesn't get much cuter than this. There's supposed to be a narrative and a soothing puzzle story, but I didn't hear much of that on the show floor. So back to the art, you can rotate the whole level to better identify where the objects are supposed to go. There are some cute animations as well, but their wood grain art style is amazing, reminding me of wooden kids' toys, which I believe is meant to evoke that exact thing. So while mechanically simple, it's on my list of games to watch. One of the most anticipated titles out of the Philippines is Volunteer the Ascension, a hand-drawn Metroidvania which crushed it on Kickstarter, adding JRPG-style storytelling to the genre. where you play as Hira, our young hero driven to uncover the truth of his forgotten past and to challenge corrupt gods. You explore sprawling, interconnected areas filled with hidden paths and platforming obstacles, and engage in combat as you slash, parry, and dodge attacks. Their signature mechanic is the Fated Bonds system, in which you're able to recruit a party of allies and summon them in combat, similar to how Ender Lilies did it, but is more of a support attack here. There are 16 companions to recruit, each offering unique abilities, and I believe are characters in themselves, which you can talk to, have their own stories and quests, and are also fully voice acted. Perhaps concerningly, I thought that this was a pure Metroidvania, but there is mention of roguelite influence, where story, character progress, and upgrades carry forward, but you return to a hub area upon death, so maybe, and I don't like the term, this is a roguevania, and I know many of you are sick of roguelites, but the art is too gorgeous not to share. Magic seems to be a theme going into 2026, with Aether Wizard Life getting some attention as well. A cozy genre mashing title where you take on the role of a young wizard's apprentice in a haunted coastal town, tasked with mastering magic, rebuilding the town, and forging meaningful connections with the characters, being most similar to Spiritfarer in my opinion. You arrive in the troubled town of Starfall, once vibrant but now weighed down by spirits and mystery, and your journey weaves together town restoration, personal growth, and magical secrets. Explore hand-drawn 2D landscapes, cast elemental spells, craft potions, summon mystical creatures, and manipulate time as part of your magical repertoire, while also managing life simulation systems like running a potion shop, brewing elixirs, serving townsfolk in a tavern, and nurturing friendships with dateable NPCs. As you grow, unlock over 30 wizard skills, collect the lost elementals hidden in dungeons, build a castle of your own, date NPCs, and upgrade your toolkit, gradually transforming from a novice mage into a respected archmage. The developer says that they are looking to mix Harry Potter with Studio Ghibli with the ultra cozy 2D hand-drawn art style, looking like they are well on their way to accomplishing that and looks to be a huge hit. Speaking of huge hits, I saw Crystal Theatre of Idols last year at Gamescom Asia in Singapore and spoke to a developer on this, where it looks like development is going well and they're trying to nail down a release date in 2026. This is a first-person horror adventure game set on the cursed island of Tormentosa on Hispania, a fictional, twisted version of Spain, where you play as Gabriel, a wary soldier drawn into a deadly cycle of faith, sacrifice, and madness. Explore decaying cathedrals, abandoned plazas, and claustrophobic tunnels, using your own blood as both ammunition and currency for survival. Every shot you fire costs health, forcing a tense balance between combat and self-preservation as you face grotesque, idol-like enemies twisted from religious iconography. Exploration uncovers relics and secrets that shed light on the island's blasphemous rituals, leading to more unsettling discoveries. Upgrade your weapon and tools through sacrifice, enhancing your ability to survive but at a steep cost, with everything in this game looking so good but grotesque, blending horror and action, and should be huge. If you love Metroidvanias, Kotama and Academy Citadel will be worth a look, in which you play as a new, mysterious transfer student exploring the vast labyrinthine academy as you aim to become the prestigious Carmel Star. Combat is the focus as you use fluid detonation abilities to turn the tide of battle, as well as the activation of Mind Acceleration mode to catch enemies off guard. Rewinding time is another feature, used not only in combat but also exploration, used to revisit zones and uncover hidden paths, get new weapons and skills, and rescue the other students whose support influences the narrative and the final ending. The anime-inspired art is awesome, with very flashy animations as well, simply being a great one of these, whose demo was well received during the most recent Steam Nix Festival and is still available, so you can check it out for yourself in anticipation of its release sometime in the remainder of 2025. Another game from last year that I saw is Lost and Found Co., coming to us from Thai developer BitEgg Inc., and is a cozy hidden object game where you join a team at a magical lost and found business and travel to whimsical locations to help townsfolk retrieve missing items. You scan the intricately detailed scenes filled with thousands of interactive objects, tapping to uncover the lost items and unlock bonus challenge levels that test your observational skills. It is light-hearted and very whimsical, having some of the most amazing art and animations that I have seen, where this too has a 2025 release window, so maybe we'll get a date soon. Singaporean developer Battle Brew Productions is crushing it, rolling their success from the cooking action roguelite Cuisinier into Hell Heartbreaker, a dungeon-crawling action roguelite which adds dating sim elements. You awaken in the underworld city of Ashraya, stripped of memory and marked by prophecy, and your path ahead demands you fight your way out of the abyss, slash your way through procedurally generated corridors of a 1920s Shanghai-inspired hellscape, wielding an arsenal of 35 weapons ranging from Jian to Kata, mastering 7 elemental trees and augments while engaging in melee combat, dodging attacks and unleashing powerful skills. Along the way, you'll meet monster girls from 7 distinct clans, each offering to help break you out but with motives of their own. Date them to gain their powers, but those who you choose not to then become the bosses, with side activities like fishing, delicious looking food and more, and will be one to watch. Alright, this next title is what blew my mind, so much so that I'm going to consolidate my thoughts in a separate video, where Overheat is an insanely fast-paced and awesome looking mech-based first-person shooter, having a very impressive development team and a mind-blowing secret. Watch this video for more of the best indie games.